You're listening to Polymatic.media, episode 27, October 29th, 2017. Welcome to the Polymaticast. Hey, John, how's it going?
Very good.
You didn't tell me you were going to do that? I see. I wasn't scared. Should I be scared? You want to we'll try it again and I'll fake being scared?
Thank you. It's fine like this.
Okay. So, good morning or good evening or afternoon, wherever it is in your part of the world. How are things for you?
Yeah, it's I've got a few days off the next couple of days, so I can actually spend some time working on artwork. So that's always good. I've been working towards this for months, having some time off. Yay! So yeah, that's looking forward to that. You?
Yeah, I'm tired, and that's just because of stuff. So I've been meaning to redo the website, and I was gonna do like a Cadillac upgrade. So what I mean by that is I wasn't gonna do just one thing. I was gonna make a bunch of other improvements all in one shot. In the effort of doing it more correctly, making it a little bit more agile, and a little bit more growth oriented in terms of being able to code into it very quickly and scale it, being more elastic, those kinds of things. And in the past, I was just sort of co-locating, because I previously did that before, because the cloud services were not very good or affordable, when I did that years ago, or even many years prior to that. I always seemed to have a server or servers. So the hoster is just like, okay, you need to upgrade, security reasons, insert stuff, pay us. And I was like, okay, I'm just going to move, because I was going to move anyways. And I've just been lazy. I've been lazy. I've been playing Moonbase or games or sleeping in, or, I'm not really hustling whatsoever. And, like as a professional developer, for me to do these things, it's really more trivial. It's just time. Figuring out certain things aren't complicated. They just have to be figured out, and then I move on and do it, and then I move forward. So this was the thing that finally is forcing my hand not to go through. If I'm going to go through the stress of going through a big upgrade cycle,
you're just going to
then why spend that effort there, spend the energy on something that's more productive for what you had planned for. So I got some cloud-based stuff at the beginning of the year for development purposes, so that I would iterate very responsibly through the year and then gradually just make my change. And so I'm doing that in the last few days, and I'm just a little tired, So okay. I spent more time on configuration stuff than actually coding. So, and I haven't even really begun the main coding stuff. So,
but as soon as you've gone through that, then you can start actually working on things, right?
Yeah. So last night I spent most of my time moving a bunch of DNSs and stuff, because I made when I redid the website in the past, I had put in a whole bunch of podcast things loaded it into the system and made the website serve all the things instead of just one individual site per whatever. So that's how I handled it. And so I'm in the business of recreating a version of that's well improved website. So last night, moving all the DNS addresses was kind of a big royal pain, and I spent probably a good hour moving lots of stuff, and then telling the cloud system to attach and know this host name and things like that. That's what I was doing last night. So I was consolidating a bunch of DNSs, and then a whole bunch that I have pointed in the direction of the old server aren't being used by anybody. I was just using it as a placeholder. So I'm not going to configure that stuff until I'm ready. Yeah.
So that's ognetworks.tv, right?
Yeah, ognetworks.tv, but then also all the variants of like talkgeneration.net.com.org, fanboyforecast.tv, ConnellLuke.com, thisotakuslife.net.org, and then a whole bunch of other podcast projects that were going to happen that never happened, and then there are 3 variants of that, and all that stuff. So, Yeah.
But it's still up. You just moved it to another place and then.
Yeah, I just kind of did it last night, and it's still up. I haven't gone and say, okay, get rid of this server. And in all honesty, I kind of don't care if I pull that trigger. You know what I mean? Like, it's not the end of the world. The podcasting feeds don't stop, right? They still work. Yeah, they're not being delivered by the primary website. So anyhow, I unloaded and unpacked a whole large thing. That's why I'm tired. I'm just tired because I did it last night and I needed to do a family thing, which ate into my evening, and and I've been working on some stuff, throughout the week. So the site has not moved. I'm looking at the main DNS address, hasn't moved yet.
Okay.
These things kick, but if you go to like www, 3ws.attackgeneration.net, it should have moved over because it looked like it did last night. But I just kind of, or I'm doing .org, right? And I just put up a splash thing for the moment.
Yeah.
Right?
Then you got it finished.
Yeah. So I just I took one of my evenings and I said, okay, I'm gonna make a little animation thing. Did that, put it up, got it working. Okay, moved on. Went to dinner with family. Decided to finally publish it first time. Okay, got it working.
Yeah.
That was it. And there is some code and a lot of stuff on the hood. So anyhow, I dived right into whatever topic, but I always do that. Sorry,
you do.
I'm just tired.
Yeah.
So what about you? What's I have lots of stuff to do for my. I've already achieved a lot of challenges aside from moving DNSs and the web page stuff over. Tremendous. There's lots of things behind the scenes to make that the mechanism that pulls all the data together that the site can be built off of. Oh, I achieved that very early on, very quickly. So all that stuff, the important stuff that allows to enable me to code, is already done and achieved. And I moved the DNS stuff over, and that should kick in real soon. So I've achieved those things. I just haven't built the new website, right?
Do you have
some of its content?
Did you put up the TTL for do you put it at a day or something, or?
Yeah, the TTLs had always been short on these things.
Oh.
So I kept them short because I wanted to be able to agile with it. I wanted to be able to move them pretty quickly. So the thing for OGnetworks.tv, I don't know what it is without looking at it, but I did that last second. I was like, oh wait, I moved all the things but the primary one. So I did that last night. So
Okay. Well, besides that, I've been working on preparing to rewrite Shortener, so I'm gonna do that soon. Gonna add some cool stuff like show pages and things.
Mm-hmm.
So you can easily hook things up. I'm actually looking into putting things into Trello, so you can make your own. Hook it up to a one of those cards and add to-do lists or something. I don't know. I'm gonna have to look into that. That's gonna happen in the next couple of weeks.
Yeah, it's sad that I can't just sit on my lazy butt on the weekends and take my good old time to overthink what I want to do. But it's okay. This is probably the best way of handling my situation, right? Is to just kind of get it done so that I can not care about it for another 10 years.
Okay.
So.
Yeah.
Shortener, that's been around for as long as the podcast, so at least OG. So it's got to be at least 12 years old.
Nah.
11 years old. Not our podcast. Because you created it long back in the day.
2006.
Okay. Yeah, it's been around. So let's go down a little bit of an aisle. What are some of the challenges that you have for all the things that you're planning?
For Shortener?
Yeah.
Not that many, actually. It's pretty easy. It's not a very complex site. I just want to make sure that everything is correct, that I can port over all the old links without much trouble.
Right.
And the
Yeah.
idea is to have like a beta version first on one of the sites. I'm probably going to use Polymatic.link for that. Just put the new version on there. There's not much chance of anything blowing up in that case. It will all be HTTPS as well, so no more issues with that.
Mm-hmm.
And adding people to access to lists of links for like shows. I think I'm gonna focus more on getting things for shows going. Maybe some things like fancy links like slash whatever. Slash,
custom, like Bitly does. Yeah.
Yeah, but those are gonna be
like,
very limited.
Like,
right.
like the first one will be John's fancy URL shortened links.
Well, the actual goal is to make it so that I can roll out new domains pretty easily.
Right, yeah.
And just add a new one, brand it, and then let people have at it, right?
Right, got you. Yeah.
I'm also going to change the logo a bit.
Okay.
Actually redo the logo completely because I kind of don't like it right now. So, yeah, it's going to be different. Yeah.
Okay. For me, I had a lot of stuff to do and still do. So, because I was making some code improvements, I rewrote a ORM that I built a long time ago, and then since then I built a version at work, and then I built a MySQL one a few years ago, and then I redid it completely from scratch. When I was like, okay, I got to take care of this thing. And I rebuilt that and all the tooling and all the thing from scratch, new and improved. And I did that because that's the way I want to handle my database stuff, instead of using something off the shelf. Also, because I also know my tool and I know how to fix my problems very easily. And if I'm trying to use or learn someone's other tool in the middle of all of that, trying to get stuff done quickly, it could slow me down. So I did that and achieved all that stuff, and that's good. And then that enabled me to rewrite my backend bit, which means I set up the database and made some improvements there. And the old site was achieving too much, more than I'm going to have any time for, and or again, I don't think I need to recreate a RSS feed dynamically for every show or for the search engine or anything like that. I don't think I need to do that. I can't imagine anyone is making a custom feed of every show that John has been on and then, only subscribing to that. So I'm not going to re-replicate that. I think that's not needed.
What about people that are actually using it right now? Are you going to change all the URLs and things?
So you were talking about compatibility with the links. So I know one of the podcasts, they do their Facebook thing and they use the direct link that goes back to the website. And I created it in such a way where I hashed it in such a way where it's always going to create the same link every single time, more or less. So I went and I did some testing on that too when I was building the backend job, and I achieved that no problem. I looked at the original code and then I replicated it and tested it randomly across the feeds, that certain shows were getting the same, certain linked mechanisms, and they are. So when I move it, their old links that are probably now dead now will actually reactivate correctly into the new format.
Okay.
So, and that was a challenge point for me. And then the rest of it was figuring out how the cloud hosting mechanism works for me. So,
are you happy with your move, or are you just
I am. The thing that drives me a little insane is that the cloud hosting solution is a solution for businesses that does everything, not just one thing, like everything. So figuring out where they organize something, I know where it logically might be, but where it actually legitimately is in that system takes a moment to figure out based on the UI. Once you understand the UI, yeah, it's actually pretty nice, but it just takes a moment to find what you're looking for. And then once you set it up, boom, done.
Okay. So next week on Tuesday, the 31st of October, and Halloween has been creeping into the Dutch area a little bit. So we have shops that have pumpkin things and skeletons and other crap lying around.
And lattes that have nothing to do with pumpkin.
I don't actually know if they do that here. I never actually been to Starbucks in Netherlands.
Oh, there's no. You don't see PSL everywhere.
Nope, I don't think so.
Yeah. So here in the States, they obnoxiously have the pumpkin spice latte.
But that's at the beginning of autumn, right?
Yeah, I don't know if that. Yeah, that's and so I know it's a thing for Starbucks. I don't know what the exact origin is. I hear most of the fanfare attached to Starbucks, which then has created external popularity on its own. So pumpkin spice latte. Okay, so it's just a bunch of. It's a thing they do around the fall time of the year, definitely before Thanksgiving. Starbucks has the pumpkin spice lattes. They always usually create some kind of temporary different looking cup. There's a holiday cup that's coming. That's going to create some other fanfare, blah, blah, blah.
And stress in certain people.
Yeah. So some people really like the pumpkin spice things. I really don't care for it. I'm rebelling. It's just, I'm not really into it. Just like I don't like hazelnut coffee, hazelnut things. I don't like hazelnut, period. So there is pumpkin spice. The pumpkin spice is something to do more with not pumpkin, but like nutmeg and a bunch of seasonings that creates the flavor. And then people go flip their mind. They make like pumpkin spice ice cream and pumpkin spice latte chocolate, and you name it, they've done it. And don't be surprised if they don't have like, a pumpkin spice salad, whatever, right? I've seen it. It's pretty obnoxious.
Well, you can use pumpkin seeds and everything. You can bake them and stuff. That's there.
Sure, yeah. They're good snack, like sunflower seeds and stuff. So, I
feed them to my hamsters.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is Halloween a big thing in your area, or is it
So when I was a kid, I guess it was a big thing as a kid, and I liked Halloween, but I didn't live, at least where I live. My mother and me, there was really no celebration. It was go get into a costume, walk around with your friends, get candy, right? That was the thing, and I enjoyed it. And then when I became an adult and I was living in a house, I dressed the house up for a few years, and I lived in a neighborhood that had people, but the neighborhood just decided to shut down. They were just like cranky about it, so they literally kind of made the whole neighborhood area collectively pretty incompatible for kids to want to walk around with their parents or whatever, chaperoned or not. And so over the 12 years I was there was probably less than a dozen people that visited me. And so I also eventually said, well, why bother? And then I got here where I live now, and I've been here for about 6 years, and the whole neighborhood does have a lot of kids in it. Every once in a while you can hear them. There's lots of kids around here. They're varying ages from really young to growing up to some getting near teenage years. And what do? They get in their vehicles, the minivans with their parents, and they go trick-or-treat outside of our little collective neighborhood. And our neighborhood has like 18 townhouses in this area. So it's very easy to walk around and say, trick-or-treat, trick-or-treat. They all know each other. And really just no one does trick-or-treating around here. It just doesn't happen. I dressed the house up. I did neat little things for a few years. Nothing. It's not really celebrated here. But to answer the long question, which were a long answer for a short question, is for me, not so much here. Hadn't been here, but yeah, I mean it's a pretty celebrated thing in other neighborhoods and other places. I think it's celebrated in pockets depending on where you are. If I grew up here where I live today as a kid, this area is too fragmented. When I was a little kid, I could walk from one like neighborhood big section to another as a kid. I can't do that here. Here, sidewalks, there's no real sidewalk community. You have to have a car, right?
Yeah.
To get around.
Yeah, I can understand that. One time I went to pick you up for we were gonna go out for some food, right? And while I was there, and I had to drive around and stop at a different location, and you had to come walk because they closed off that little area. But there's like no sidewalks over there anywhere.
Yeah.
It's like, what? So how do people go jogging or something like that? Right?
Yeah, I mean the little development area, I could loop around about 100 times and actually do a little loop and a jog if I wanted to. But we also in where I live in this area, we're not far from a national park, and you can go jogging through that area. And there's plenty of places to run up and down in hills. And so if you want to pick and find a park, yeah, no, there's totally options, but you got to go drive to it as a destination and park yourself there and do the thing. So.
Okay. Well, over here, there's not much Halloween going on. There's a Dutch holiday, or not actually the holiday. It's more like a thing where kids go by the streets, by the houses and ask for candy. So there's something like something similar, but it's not Halloween. They use lanterns. They walk around with lanterns and ask for candy and things. There's that. That's an old Dutch thing. But Halloween is starting to become a little bit more accepted. People have at school, they have little Halloween days where the kids can come up dressed up like Spider-Man or something. Yeah. That's about it, I guess. But for artwork, in the art scene, there's lots of people that do artwork during Halloween.
Yeah.
Lots of it's a big couple of days because the streams are more populated with people asking for requests, doing Halloween-y things. So that's nice. I kind of like that. So that's why I took days off. I'm actually going to be streaming the next couple of days.
Yeah, I think because of the trick-or-treating is really lackluster, I literally have like a plastic black kettle bucket, and I'm going to put candy in it. I'm going to put a stool out there and a sign that says, "Happy Halloween, take candy." And then I'm not going to bother monitoring the door.
Takes the entire thing.
Yeah, well, my neighbor does that, and that works out just fine. People come up, you hear them go, "Oh, candy," and then gone. Because especially in the middle of the week, at some point you just want to go to sleep. You don't want to be there all night waiting, till like 10, 11 o'clock or whatever, because you never know if someone's going to come by and knock on your door. That's not really the average thing. You normally don't trick-or-treat really late. When I was a kid, though, you could do it up till like 9 p.m., and people still had a bowl of candy, waiting for someone to knock on their door. I think today here in the U.S., they're doing it not when it's starting to get dark, but they do it before it gets dark. Like, I think I'm still at work at 3 o'clock. I am not at home waiting for trick-or-treaters. So for me, I'm never going to observe that unless I happen to be home at the same day for whatever reason. So, I don't know. I'm getting at this point where I'm getting cranky about it. I don't want to be waiting for 6 hours, right? I want to go edit OG or something, right? I want to go do a thing and be focused and isolated and not bothered about it, while I'm working on it. Yeah. So it could be that my observation of our kids actually celebrating it is that as active as I realized. It doesn't feel like it, though. That's to my point. But I think my observation is pretty unique for my circumstances. Yeah. But I will tell you, though, commercially it's celebrated.
Oh, definitely, yeah. even over here, there's like entire stores dedicated to it now.
You go to the market, and what do? It's all of a sudden the candy companies are now repackaging their thing in small little bite-sized things. Yep. And that's the best time to pick up your favorite whatever in a bite-sized fashion, right? So
there's supermarket stores here that are actually, they fill their entire fruits and vegetables, and they put pumpkins everywhere with little stickers on them, right? So with like faces and things. There's a store here in the local shopping center that has, they usually sell like knickknacks, little mirrors, photo frames, that kind of stuff. But now they've filled it up completely with masks and other skeletons and fake spider rag and things. It's really, really, it's silly. But I kind of like the idea of, celebrating more. There's no, like for example, we have Sinterklaas, which is a kind of like Santa type deal, but he has like, he has helpers, but the helpers are black people, which is the problem.
Yeah, I heard about this kind of racist thing that is a tradition
they call that.
No other culture understands, but finds it offensive. Yeah, I've heard these.
Yeah, so that's happening
before.
But I like the fact that there's nothing attached to this, right? So that you can just celebrate spooky things. Yay! Yeah. But then again, probably somebody's gonna make some offensive remark about it.
I celebrate the fun of the Halloween. I don't celebrate the let's be spooky jerks and prank people and egg their house. Like, I'm not into that.
We got a holiday for that too.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't celebrate those things. I've never egged a house. I don't know if I've ever TP'd a house. I don't think I have.
Alan's house gets TP'd and egged.
Well, you really can't. There's really no trees. There's a tree in the area, and you could do that, but then you're doing it for all the houses. And TPing, toilet papering someone's house is not about efficiency whatsoever.
Yeah, well, I like that that there's more of a good holiday for that. It's not local, but it's celebrating something that everybody can relate to a little bit.
Right. Yeah.
And it's more innocent. That's good.
I think it's also it's one of those. Okay, so maybe I was thinking about Halloween and I was thinking about Christmas. So here, at least in the U.S., and it was good. The comment I was just about to make is, well, at least it's a thing you can celebrate, like family-oriented kind of situation, where you can celebrate it with your relatives or your direct family, especially if you have more than one sibling, that kind of thing. And also it requires your parents to spend time with you, to take you places, walk you around, and celebrate the funness of it. And as a kid, oh my God, candy, everything, right?
Sugar rush.
The only bummer was my father or my mother would sit there and would have to, they would have to look at the candy to make sure that there was nothing in it, no razors or whatever, right? Whatever the suspicions or concerns that they had to be placated first before you could have just candy, free candy. So I always appreciated that side of it, and I did experience a little of that with my family when I was younger. So maybe that's why it imprinted a positive spin on it for me.
Yeah.
I'm Jewish, so we didn't really celebrate Christmas. Christmas typically is sort of overshadowed, at least in my household, because it's not our real exact celebration religion. So like the re-embracing of a family and stuff like that, it's more kind of listed as like an inconvenience. So we all do our own thing. So for me, Christmas time is more, if anything, is more of a lonely situation than it is like a positive family reinforcing situation. And so for me, Halloween imprints stronger on me than Christmas, and Christmas only imprinted strong on me because they commercialized it so much, right? Every movie, there's a Christmas movie, that kind of thing. So it's celebrated, but being Jewish and with my family, we don't really celebrate Christmas. So it doesn't have any kind of mercurial relationship to anything that's outside of the commercial operation of it. So,
but now you get Star Wars every year, so you can make
yeah,
a
that's
Star
true.
Wars
But
thing for it.
but I mean, that's all like the commercial stuff. So all the blockbusters are celebrating it out of commercial opportunity, and they put it at the end of the year so they can kind of build up an interest in it. And then boom, we get all of our Christmas blockbuster movies because of the timing of it. So I mean, it's good. It's not a bad thing. I'm not against it. The side benefit of it, whether it's actually relevant to me directly or not, is I get to see a new Star Wars or a new Star Trek. Or actually, Star Trek happens in the summers now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I think for me, at least, it's for the last couple of years. Actually, for the last 10 years, I've been doing Halloween themed things for artwork. For those years, it's been fun. Actually, it gets a lot of people to your site and to join in on that celebration. They just say, "Hey, nice, great, more spooky witches and Halloween thingies." So yeah, I think that's the good part of it for me. More attention.
Yeah. Yeah, an opportunity to do something because of insert reason. Yeah, that's cool. I had always thought about it. I always built the OG website or whatever it is. I always built them in such a manner that I could reskin them pretty easily, so that I could do a Halloween thing, or all of a sudden it's snowing all over the website. I had always built things to be dynamic and modular. And I always have that side thought every time I get to insert holiday kind of thing. But when you're doing that stuff, even when you're doing it for work, because there's other benefits to be modular and that kind of design pattern, it's good for other reasons. It's good for that reason. That little novel idea always pops up in my head.
Yeah.
But no one's going to want their site to be snowing at work. Your bosses, the people who are using it are going to love it. Your bosses are going to hate you for having snow falling down during the wintertime automatically when people start signing into your website.
That's actually
little
quite a good
things like
idea.
that.
I'm gonna do that.
Yeah. Oh, right. You hadn't thought of that? You haven't thought about
I also run 2 artist communities, and I did for a while put bats in the background during Halloween, and did snowflakes during Christmas, stuff like that.
Yeah, I mean, and
I stopped doing that because it's
going to continue to probably be a dark looking website, at least the background or the initiator of it. So of course I might pop up little spooky eyes or something every once in a while. But
spooky eyes that follow your mouse cursor.
Every once in a while, all you need is a little blink, little moving eyes around, that kind of thing. With that, I never celebrated in such a fashion. So, those are the Easter eggs that you put in without anyone noticing until they notice.
Well, you want to put that in months in advance, and then only on the day itself it does that.
When I was the guy who built the intranet for the company, I did stuff like that, right? I would, they would, one of the first things I would do is I would change the logo, and I would make a snow version of the logo or a Halloween version of the logo, and I would change it, every year, and then eventually I would start making it do little things like snowing or whatever it is. Just, they're neat, but again, these are intranets. The portfolio of that is no one's really seeing it except for 5 people out of 10,000 who actually care.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Okay. Well, I think if we covered these things enough for now, I think we gotta move on to the fun stuff. We have quite a bit. I try to limit it, but kind of want to push to put some more in there.
Well, I know we double, but I just put 5 in. I didn't know that was your intention. I just I looked last night and I was like, okay, maybe he just hasn't added a couple more. So I gotta get them off my list, man. They've been sitting there forever.
Yeah.
Okay, so I guess I'll start because I'm on top.
Yep.
The Musical Road is the first one here, polymatic.link/C1. So this is Tom Scott. He's a British YouTuber. He talks about all kinds of stuff, but he talks about smart things. I will paraphrase it that way. He's a smart guy, does some interesting things, and I don't know if he's a professor or if he's directly associated with one of the universities in England, but I'm pretty sure he is. Nonetheless, I saw this. This was one of his videos a while ago, and he was talking about some of the mathematics or the science of. But he was talking about a road in California when you drive over at a certain rate and speed that it makes a little tune. And then he talks about the mistake that happened.
Yeah.
But I thought it was an interesting blog. I wanted to share it, and it was polymatic.link/C1.
Okay. Now, next thing is not an actual video. There's no video involved, actually.
It's a page.
But yeah, it's an interesting article about how the universe really shouldn't exist. So, are we even here? Is this reality? Polymatic links like BY.
Yeah. BY.
Yep.
Bye. Oh, maybe bye. You need an E. That's going to be an interesting link whenever that happens. All right, so since you did something related to universe, I had a link in my list. This guy does the universe in 4 minutes. I don't know. It's kind of funny. I don't know if it's a person you want to follow. I am not, but I did watch this video. It was polymatic.link/C2. Did you watch it? Did you find it interesting?
Yeah.
There's
been other videos that done it way better than this one.
Sure, yeah. But I thought this was kind of interesting. This guy is trying to go for an edge of something. But anyway, this is polymatic.link, the universe in 4 minutes. Polymatic.link/C2.
Yes. Oh. Next one is anime. Be like, Polymatic link/BZ. How anime is always, when you're watching it, it's, anime, and then somebody else walks in, some, scandalous thing happens.
Right, it's the timing thing.
So Polymatic link/BZ.
Yeah.
It's slightly not suitable for work.
It is not suitable for work. No, it's loud. So, the Justice League trailer came out a while ago. I don't know. I don't know if I'm excited for it, but it's definitely a movie I want to see in the theater. Polymatic.link/C3. If you all have not seen it yet, there it is. There's a trailer.
Yeah, I'm not really excited for Justice League. I just don't, it's not my thing.
I think I'm more interested in the Marvel universe than the DC universe. However, with that said, there is a bunch of DC TV shows, DC universe-based TV shows that have been on air that I really enjoy. Even though it's an imperfect show and it's got its formula and tropes, I do like The Flash. I do like The Legends of Tomorrow. What's the other one? There's another one. Supergirl. I like Supergirl. So I do like these shows, and I do watch them. And the movies, I don't know. I mean, I enjoyed Wonder Woman for what it was. Definitely high production. So I'm willing to. I definitely have seen a Batman movie, right? I've seen a Superman movie. So I'm interested enough to go see at least the first one in the theater.
Yeah, I'll have a look when it comes out on DVD or something.
Yeah,
I'm not going to go for the movie for this. Not to the cinema for this. Anyway, Marble Races. Polymatic link/C0. I saw this and I was like, what is this? It's actually sort of enjoyable. The guy builds a very long course and then runs marbles all the way down that course.
And then he does.
He makes like a race commentary on it.
Yeah. You know what? I sat there. I watched it for whatever it was. I was like, that's kind of an interesting idea. Like because of the physics of it, you don't know where it goes. What's gonna go where?
And it's 100% original content unless somebody files the DMCA for the marbles.
Yeah, I agree with you. It is totally. It's original all around, and it really requires a lot of effort. You can't just kind of half-ass this. This guy had to have a couple multiple cameras. Clearly they're running with it, and it's really smooth. right, to follow this whole thing. You don't realize that a person or a tracked camera or something has to be following the track. Like, you wouldn't think much of this, but someone's probably going to the backyard or something with a long hill and just threw the dirt and made a track. And I'll tell you, it was interesting. I don't know if you can make a professional sport out of this, but it was definitely interesting.
I think some people will be betting on this.
Really?
Yeah.
If it was live, though.
Yeah, if it was live, then somebody would be betting on it.
But then the commentary, I mean, you can't tell. Spooky class, whatever, I don't know what the stupid names were with the ghostly 8. I don't know. I'm just making something
8 ball, something like that.
Yeah, 8 ball.
Yeah. So Polymatic link / C0 for that.
Yeah, it's interesting. It's worth a watch. Okay, so this I was hoping that you would be able to see. SNL is a sketch group here in the U.S. It's attached to a TV show that happens on Saturday evenings, and they always have celebrities and blah, 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 insert whatever the political atmosphere of something, right? It's a sketch comedy show. They've been around for, I don't know, probably about 40 years. And so they more recently put out one of their little sketches, which is like a commercial inside the TV show, and it's Papyrus.
Yeah.
That's what it's called. Hey, look, it's got somebody a celebrity. I don't know. I thought it was kind of funny. Polymatic.link / C4. Were you able to watch this?
Yes, I was able to watch it. But I couldn't finish it because it was like, this is really boring.
Not even. You didn't get to the twist?
Well, maybe probably not.
Yeah,
I don't like the comedy. The comedy shows in the U.S. The comedy is not funny.
Funny, right? I understand. I hear you. And I agree with you. When I finally became an adult, I really didn't watch SNL. But as a kid, I wanted to because it was adult humor. You're too young to be able to watch it. You're not allowed to watch this, right? And then when I finally watched it, occasionally they do some really funny stuff.
Oh yeah, the stuff with the what's his face from the White House, the press secretary dude, where they got McCarthy.
Yeah, they got Melissa McCarthy.
McCarthy as like the press
Spicer.
secretary.
That's it.
Spicer.
Yeah. Spicer. Yeah,
on that cart driving around New York. That was funny.
They got Huckabee pretty nailed down too. I mean, so they do some funny things, but the problem is I don't want on my Saturday night. I don't want to be up watching that.
No.
Because for me at least the ratio for funniness or whatever it is really low.
Yeah.
Right. So anyhow, that was Papyrus Polymatic.link / C4.
Okay, so if you're planning on doing some Halloween stuff, you can build this in like a couple of minutes.
Okay.
An automatic trick or treater. So you can press the button, either candy comes out or water gets sprayed on them. So if you put some synthetic skunk in there, like they use on Mythbusters, you can really treat them. Polymatic link / C6.
Okay. Are you going to build this?
No, we don't have any trick-or-treaters. I live in an apartment building, so there's not much. Not much.
I saw my step-grandmother. We were having this conversation because she lives in a big apartment condo complex. And what she said is in your building, you sign up at the bottom of like in the lobby of your building, and then parents can check the list, and then they can go to the apartments and knock on the door for the people who are participating in trick-or-treating.
Oh, that's a good idea.
Otherwise, you just having a bunch of kids and families walking around, down long hallways, knocking on big, condo apartment doors. So I thought that was interesting. I was sort of like, oh, okay. I don't live like in an apartment, so I wouldn't know how you would handle that. So that was kind of interesting to find out. So I don't know if back in the 70s or 80s, did we give the Polymatic link for you?
A Polymatic link / C6.
Got it. So I don't know. Motion graphics has been around for a while. It's more of a computer CG thing, right? And so it's really easy to do, like the way I created the sort of the way the little logo is on the new splash page. I use After Effects, right, which is basically motion graphics, and then I got the data and made it what it is up on the website. So motion graphics have been around for a lot longer than most people realize. And if you watch something like HBO's, like, or your TV station, whatever, they're like super fancy looking logo that was moving, they would use something like a Scanomat to produce that, or Chiron, and then a Scanomat to make it move or twist or do fancy thing or spin. Anyhow, this is just a short little video about the Scanomat and a guy who has them and loves them. Polymatic.link/C5.
Analog graphics.
Yeah, analog graphics. Yeah. There were motion graphics. That's how they kind of did it. They weren't great, but they were faster than animating frame by frame. Yeah. Right? That would take half a year for a 30-second thing and millions of dollars to do it.
Yeah. That's actually pretty interesting story. I actually watched this completely.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah. So another thing that never ends, a D&D game. Some guy that has like D&D campaign that's been going on for, I don't know exactly how long, but it's been going on for a very long time, and he has like boxes upon boxes of components for scenarios and stuff.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So Polymatic link/C7 for that.
Okay. I'll have to check that out. I definitely know people who do campaigns, but the only reason they stop them is because they get boring. But boring could be 5 years, right? Yeah. It could be, we have our weekly, continuing hanging out campaign. Like, I have plenty of friends who do stuff like that. Yeah. It's never been into my thing. Role playing.
I've actually never done that before, ever.
I hung out with friends who were doing it, and they wanted to, please come into the fold, Alan. That kind of thing. Like, please come join us into our, and it's fun for other people. I never really derived much fun out of it. The fun was hanging out with my friends. That was it.
It actually has never been a real big thing here. This kind of stuff. So yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. It always been around since I was a little kid. So I've been aware of it. It's just never been my thing. So I mean, I'll tell you one thing though. It's kind of neat that at some point in early OG history, I decided to maybe I should talk to Steve Jackson. And then I reached out to the guy, and we talked to Steve Jackson. And he's one of those early pioneers for a lot of what we know as D&D. And, and so, it was kind of interesting. And he had sort of interesting backstory. Even talked to Andy Looney, he's the creator of Flux. And again, they have some really deep, interesting stories of their path and their narrative. And how those games came together. So I find those things more interesting than maybe celebrating the generation of like playing Magic. Like, I'm not sure that I'm interested in Magic cards.
No,
it's not my thing.
I have an entire box full of them, and I maybe played 2 or 3 times.
Yeah, I mean, Bryce on the podcast, he. At least on OG, he's a big Magic player. As an adult, not as actively, but it's interesting. Board games, I don't mean like the standard old kind of like Monopoly and whatever, they're coming back in a big way, more actively lately. Yeah. So it's just kind of cool. I think that's a good thing. And that usually was only regimented to like people who play D&D. And so I don't know. I'm enjoying the idea of people of all ages getting into D&D. But if you're playing it for 20 years, I mean, come on, let it go. Can't be that good of a game.
I don't know.
So have you listened to or watched Harmon Quest or listened to Dan Harmon's podcast?
No.
The Harmoncast. So they have a component at the end of it. I mean, it's complete chaos most of the time with a bunch of characters that you eventually get invested in. but they always did role playing at the end of it. So they did a role playing game, and they would do like a Shadowrun game or something. And then if they had a guest celebrity or something up on stage, they would be involved in role playing. And you would hear the audio, and then you eventually could watch the video of this. And then that's where Harmon Quest came about, where they started animating it. So I don't know. I thought that was kind of interesting. So.
Okay. I got some music. Normally this is your corner, but today it's mine. Haha.
That's fine. I didn't have anything new.
So Spongel came out with a new album called Codex 6, Polymatic.media/C8, and I've got 2 other tracks from that album. It's not out yet on iTunes, but it has been out on Bandcamp. That's the C8 link. Polymatic.link/C9 is a hammock therapy. That's another track from that album. And Polymatic.link/CA, another track from that album. They put their entire album already on YouTube. It's not out on iTunes, but it's out on YouTube apparently.
Yeah, that's the interesting thing that people have been doing lately is they put up lyric videos or just the audio of the still image on YouTube because it's so searchable. And so
also prevents other people from uploading it. So they pre-released it on Bandcamp, and they put like you get lossless FLAC and other different versions of it.
Yep.
And I think that they put it up there on YouTube so they can do a DMCA takedown in case somebody just tries to steal it, put it on their own channel.
I guess that's a good attack. The other thing is the same thing with like podcasts. Podcasts are like, oh yeah, I put my podcast up on YouTube. My podcast, you can find it on YouTube. I said, but that's not a podcast. It's like, again, the definitions and the use of cases of these things.
We do put our podcast on YouTube, you know that, right?
Yeah, I know. Yeah. I know. I started doing it too with mine as well, because it's you know what? You want to be where people are digesting things. And it's just when people are like, all right, so how can I download the audio of this? Oh, you can't. Is there a feed related? Oh, no. Well, then it's not a podcast.
Maybe you should put the RSS feed in there, too. That's a good idea. Anyway, so I think that's it for this week. Do we have anything else?
I think that's enough.
What?
No, I think that's plenty.
Okay.
I know it feels weird to be under 90 minutes, but I think we could achieve that.
Yeah, we're even under an hour. So,
yeah.
So where can they reach you on the internets?
You can find me on Twitter. CHAESS is my last name, and you can find me on Twitter.
Yeah. For me as well, but on WebDevie, WEBDEVVIE. You can find our social links at polymatic.social. For feedback, you can reach us at podcast@polymatic.media. Our Twitter is @thepolymatic. The website is Polymatic.media. And I hope you tune in next time.
The music in this episode was by Say Uns. It was licensed under Creative Commons Attribution and found on the Free Music Archive. You can find these tracks at shortner.com/PRK.
Oh, okay. There goes your Skype.
Okay. Are you still there, John?
Okay, so we got disconnected.
Why did I lose John?
Let me just connect.
I am silent. Still recording though. You went missing. That was weird.
Spooky.
Was that you being intentionally spooky?
No. You hung up.
Oh, no.
And then you went offline.
All of a sudden on this end, it just disappeared.
Yeah. You went offline.
Okay, well, edit point.
Okay, where were we?